Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching my videos. This time, I've put together an overview of strategies for playing against mono-red prison, as well as thoughts on sideboarding. The highlight is in Game 2, where I secure a win in a vintage-style fashion. I've added some explanations in the commentary section as well. Feel free to check that out too. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. Even if I go down to 6 cards, there's a chance for a stronger hand, so I'll mulligan. Send G as well to the bottom. This is the classic reliable misclick moment. I'll convert Vexing Bauble into a draw. I'll fetch Wear down. If I can draw Swamp followed by Lotus Petal, there's still a chance, so I won't give up. The adventure ends here. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. Here's the sideboard I actually used during the game. During the game, I had the impression that I was facing mono-red initiative, but since I didn't have a clear idea of my opponent's list, I sideboard like this. After doing some research for the video, I found this option to be better, so I recommend everyone use this one instead. These are the cards related to ANT in mono-red prison. First, we have permanents like Unlicensed Hearse, Ley Line of the Void, Trinosphere, Chalice of the Void, Disruptor Flute, and Null Rod. To counter these, I use cards like Abrupt Decay, Wear Down, Boseiju, Who Endures, and Echoing Truth. At this point, some viewers might be wondering about possible targets for Burning Wish. And some might suggest that it's better to keep Wear Down in the deck. However, in a match against mono-red prison, losing tempo often means losing the game. Ultimately, Burning Wish is used as an additional infernal tutor, serving as a combo ignition point. To avoid losing tempo, I side in all my artifact and enchantment removal. In this match, I remove all Veil of Summer and Vexing Bauble, as they have low impact. Next, we have graveyard hate cards like Unlicensed Hearse, Fairy Macabre, and Ley Line of the Void. The opponent will likely have at least some focus on graveyard interaction. When you want to ignore the opponent's graveyard hate and win through speed, it's time for Ad Nauseam. To maximize the power of Ad Nauseam, I add Chrome Mox to the deck. Since Cabal Ritual is highly affected by the opponent's graveyard hate and effectively becomes a 2-mana Lotus Petal in the early turns, I reduce the number of copies. Next, regarding Forest, the opponent may sometimes combine Blood Moon with Chalice of the Void. Since there are rare instances where I could be completely locked out by this combination, I include it just in case. Next, regarding Mindbreak Trap. Since the opponent may have a few copies of Mindbreak Trap tucked away, I make sure to keep my discard spells. This time, I achieved a vintage-style win in Game 2, so let me introduce an interesting way to win with Tendrils of Agony. Let's assume you have an island and a swamp on the battlefield. In your hand, you have 2 Lotus Petals, 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds, Hercule's Recall, Dark Ritual, and Tendrils of Agony. First, with Island and Swamp untapped, cast both Lotus Petals and both Lion's Eye Diamonds. Then, tap the Island and Swamp to cast Hercule's Recall. Return all artifacts on the battlefield to your hand. Next, recast all the Lotus Petals and Lion's Eye Diamonds. At this point, your storm count has reached 9. After that, use Lotus Petal to cast Dark Ritual, generating 4 mana, and then cast Tendrils of Agony for the win. This time, I used Hercule's Recall to demonstrate the example, but this approach can also be applied with cards like Echoing Truth or Chain of Vapor. If you weren't aware of this tactic, it might be worth remembering for future games. I'll keep this hand because it can handle up to 2 of the opponent's disruption cards, and if I draw additional mana acceleration beyond Dark Ritual, I can go all in. I'll use discard spells to scout ahead. I took out Trinosphere because if I get mana screwed, I won't be able to do anything. I'm really torn about whether to follow up Infernal Tutor with Abrupt Decay. Nice top deck. As expected, I'll follow up Infernal Tutor with Abrupt Decay. The effective Surveil sends cards to the graveyard. I'll remove Trinosphere. The opponent might end up spending more life thanks to Ancient Tomb. I'll organize my hand to make the most of Tendrils of Agony. I removed Chalice of the Void with X equals 0. Drawing a 0 mana spell or Cabal Ritual would be ideal. I'm going all in. From here. The card named with Disruptor Flute is Dark Ritual. I'll generate more mana needed for the combo. I'll build up Storm Count with Echoing Truth. With the Storm Count high enough, I'll cast Tendrils of Agony. I'll keep this hand since the opponent is likely to start with artifacts. At this point, I considered using Boseiju, who endures to remove an artifact, but I had a feeling Chalice of the Void with X equals 2 was about to drop, so I held back. This was clearly a mistake, as it's a situation where I needed to draw additional lands. The effective Surveil sends the cards to the graveyard. The card named with Disruptor Flute is Abrupt Decay. I'll remove the artifact with Wear Down. The second Trinosphere made a swift entrance. I'll search for mana acceleration. I'll stack Dress Down, Dark Ritual, and Polluted Delta in that order, then draw. First, I'll play around Blood Moon. Since I sideboarded out the second Surveil land, I didn't activate it. I'll remove Trinosphere. I'll adjust my hand to achieve Hellbent. I stacked Past in Flames followed by Infernal Tutor. I'm going all in. From here. With the Storm Count high enough, I'll cast Tendrils of Agony. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the frequent play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you in the next one. This has been Antya.